Hey there, Vikings fans. You are listening to the Purple People podcast. We thank you for joining us in the afternoon. It's 2 o'clock my time. I believe it's 3 o'clock for Mr. Smith. I don't know what it is for Adam because I don't understand time zones. But we're here to talk Minnesota Vikings football.
We are. You should just know the number of times that we've messed up on all getting together to record because of the time zones difference. It's a big old mess. And I got my echo again, which is pretty cool. And there goes the echo. So we got that all set, I believe. But this is episode number 211 of the Purple People podcast, titled "For Whom the Bell Foles."
I love it.
Yeah, you musicians out there will recognize it from one thing. Lovers of movies and books will recognize it from another. Just one of those things that transcends all audiences, I think. Forgive me for my voice a little bit. I got a bit of a tickle going on, so I won't be the absolute clearest, but I'll do my best. And I don't believe we introduced Mr. Smith down there in the corner.
Yep. Coming to you from Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm all over the place, like I told you guys. How you guys doing today? I hope all our people tuning in are doing well.
He's got that NASCAR stuff up there in the corner.
NASCAR country, you gotta have something here, right? Not mine.
Being first, you're last. That's about as much as I like about NASCAR as Talladega Nights. About it.
That's completely it.
But we're not here to talk Will Ferrell movies. That could be a completely different podcast. We have, instead, Vikings football.
Mm-hmm. Lots of football this week, too.
Yeah, lots of transactions. We're leading up to some pretty interesting stuff. So it's an exciting time to be a football fan, especially Minnesota Vikings. Maybe a little bit more exciting right now to be a Packer fan since they have the Hall of Fame game this year. I know that's going to be the first taste of football for the preseason that people are going to get. It's the Green Bay Packers, so not everybody's going to be like, yeah! But you know what? I'm watching that game anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Football.
I'm going to watch it because football is back, and Brett Favre is going in the Hall of Fame, one of my all-time favorites. So, something cool. I think Tony Dungy's going in as well. Good.
Absolutely.
Good historic figures of football. That's always the turning point. We made it back. We made it a whole offseason again.
Absolutely did. Made it all the way through. We had a couple stumbles with shows. We were a little late on a couple. Brought in some other faces. But you know what? Now that football's back, I think that we're going to be going pretty strong again. I think. Fingers crossed anyway.
And the start of training camp is always it's one of my favorite times of year because you get the certain optimism where every draft pick looks like the steal of the draft and just everyone looks like they're on point, and you just get really super excited for the potential of the team. And it's a lot of fun because it's the return of actual news stories and actual football activity. There's no more guessing. There's no more just trying to make up storylines. It's like, hey, we have actual things to talk about, whether it's what players look like in camp and what's going on, or transactions or whatnot. It's like these are actual tangible news things that we're talking about now. That's a lot of fun.
Oh, for sure. And the big thing that happens right now is the transactions. Players are getting picked up. Players are getting cut. They're trying to get together the best team of guys they can right now to sort out who's going to make the roster, who's going to make the practice squad, who might have a future with the franchise. So that's a lot of fun. Right now, we're going to talk about some of those signings, some of those releases. Personally, my favorite signing of the last week has been defensive tackle Claudel Lewis. I've been following him for a while. He is a native of Haiti. He's got family down there that got really wrecked by the earthquakes down there. And he came to Florida to play football, and he wants to earn a big payday, not just to be a football star, but so that he can build orphanages and schools down in Haiti. So I think that's absolutely awesome.
It's amazing.
Fits in with the mentality.
I love it.
Yeah, fits in with the mentality of the Vikings of trying to bring in not only good football players, but good people as well, too.
Absolutely. There was also the signing of offensive tackle Sean Hickey. I don't know his story, but I bet you if we looked in there, I bet you he's a cool dude, too. Fingers crossed, anyway.
I'm sure too, and with Phil Holt retiring, I'm not surprised to see them bring in a little bit extra competition on the line.
No, it's a smart move. Anytime you can add depth at a position that's kind of shaky, I think why not? And Sean Hickey, like I said, I don't know much about him. I'm excited to see some stuff from him this preseason. And preseason is where these guys get a chance to shine. These unknown guys can step in, make a name for themselves during the preseason. Maybe Sean Hickey will be one of those guys.
I was listening to TJ Clemens do one of the after practice press conferences, and he made a really good point where they were talking about is it just game time when you have to prove yourself on the field? And he essentially said, no, every time I get a rep, whether it's first team or third team, that is my opportunity to prove myself to the coaching staff.
So very true. Now, there were some releases. Earlier this week, Jason Whittingham was signed by the Vikings. He was let go.
Jason Witten? What?
Jason Whittingham.
Wrong player.
Whittingham, which is not a Whittingham salad sandwich, which apparently is a thing, a ham salad sandwich. I did not know this until about 4 minutes ago.
We need to know.
Yeah,
we need to research
Adam's never heard of ham salad before.
I need to know what's in that. I'm going to look that up.
You've never heard of ham salad?
You've also never heard of ham salad?
What's wrong with you?
I'm from
I
the
don't
South,
know.
man. Maybe it's a
I don't know.
thing. I don't know. I've never heard of that.
No, it's brand new by me. I don't know. Maybe we should keep the ham salad question for the question of the week, because I have no clue that this even exists. So.
Maybe it's a Midwest thing.
I grew up in Duluth, Minnesota, man.
Yeah.
If this ham salad sandwich is a thing, I should know about it. I think anyway. But, who knows? So we had some other moves made by the Vikings. Defensive tackle Kendrick Ellis was placed on the PUP list, but he was just taken off, participated in practice. Excited to have him back. I really do like him as a backup to Linval Joseph. I do. They need those big bodies in the middle of the line to clog stuff up. And when Ellis had to go in last year, I thought he did a pretty admirable job of trying to take care of things in the middle. So I'm happy to have him back. I hope he can stay healthy and prove to be a worthwhile backup on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, we've got the Taylor Heineke story, which I know Kyle West wants to tell, I believe.
Sure. He kicked his leg through an apartment door, trying to help one of his friends who had apparently locked him out of his apartment. And then he tore something in his leg, right, Adam?
I believe the story was he kicked through some glass to try to help his buddy get into his apartment, and that just did not go well. And it ended up with him messing up a ligament in his leg or something, and I'm not sure what the timetable on the recovery is, but either way, right now, he is the third quarterback on the list, so there isn't a big immediate need for him to step in, but these preseasons and training camps are big for young guys, and I would love if he could be healthy. And I'll be honest, I really loved watching him last preseason. I did. I used to look forward to when he'd come into games. He made some good throws, and there were some plays where he just got absolutely beat up and stood up, went back in, took some more throws. I really like this kid. I'm hoping this heals fast and I can watch him this preseason.
Can you imagine having to make that call and be like, hey, I just want to tell you guys, my leg's partially broken, kind of. But hey, it's fine. I'll just show up in a wheelchair. It's cool. I read that. I stopped what I was doing. I was like, what? It was the most bizarre thing that I've read this offseason so far. Especially
Mine is the McFadden elbow. That's still the one that baffles me. Because now he's saying, I didn't drop my phone. That's not how I hurt my elbow. Okay, all right. Just keep changing the story.
That's weird. I want to hear the phone call between Taylor Heineke and Mike Zimmer.
I believe
I
he
don't want to be there for
texted
that.
him. I think that's what I picked up, is that he texted Mike Zimmer.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you don't want to make that in person. Text is the way to go on that one. Give him a little bit of time to calm down. Probably for the best. Now, the Mike Harris story, I don't know what to think about this one. He was placed on the non-football injury list, but he also remains on the active roster. Now, from what I'm understanding, it's an issue having to do with his head. And head injuries can be very serious, which is scary, especially for an offensive lineman. And I'm wondering if this had some sort of impact on him in the offseason getting signed, because he was a very capable guard for the Vikings last year. Did a great job stepping in at right guard, earned the starting spot. And then for him to hit free agency and not have people interested in a league where offensive line talent is kind of sparse, that was very shocking to me. So I'm wondering if this issue with his head could be something with long-term ramifications, because I think he should have been swooped right up.
You thinking some kind of like lingering concussion symptoms or whatnot, Adam?
I'm not sure, but the whole situation itself makes no sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the numbers aren't adding up on that. I'm sure there's something not being disclosed to the public there. There's got to be, because that's really, really odd.
It absolutely is. Now, here's my favorite piece of news from the week. During an interview, Laquan Treadwell said that head coach Mike Zimmer talked to him and said that he is going to make Laquan Treadwell hate him. But he'll love him when his career is over.
Mm-hmm.
That, to me, was one of the most awesome things. And from what I've seen from Laquan Treadwell, showed up first at training camp. One of the last guys off the field, was running laps after the practices. This is a guy that doesn't seem afraid to put in the hard work to succeed. And that is what I love seeing from these young guys. Too many players, especially wide receivers, come in with this entitled mentality thinking that they're already stars and they can already do everything they want to do. They don't need the help of their coaching staff. They can get by on talent. I'm not seeing that from Treadwell, and I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially at that diva position.
Yeah, absolutely. Then again, Mike Zimmer's going to work everybody hard. It's just who Mike Zimmer is.
That quote's up there next to the 7-Eleven picking up a cover 2 corner with me. I like that a lot.
That's good stuff. More steps were taken towards getting the Egan facility ready to go for the training camp and the headquarters. The team has picked an architect and a contractor. They went with the same contractor for US Bank Stadium. They went down to Kansas City to pick up their architect, so they got everything all planned out. Groundbreaking on the place is tomorrow, if you're listening to this live. So that's kind of fun. They're going to hold the ceremony tomorrow. Again, I'm not sure if it's open to the public. If you live in the Egan area, check it out, because that could be a lot of fun to go to. But
I think you should just show up. Just show up. Bring your own shovel. Start your own groundbreaking ceremony.
yeah, just show up and start digging.
Yeah. What's the worst that could happen, right?
Say you're helping out.
Yep.
I want to pitch in, do my part.
I'm gonna dig a hole. Dig a hole.
Dig a big hole.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people have been wondering what this means for Mankato, and I do believe that 2018 training camp will move out to Egan. A lot of people are saying that the Egan facility won't be used until 2019, when the contract with Mankato is over, but that last year is sort of a handshake precautionary deal, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I would entirely expect 2018 training camp to be out in Egan.
I'm going to speculate that they're going to move. I don't know how often you guys listen to all the press conferences with the coaches on the Vikings website, but I've noticed this year in particular, Mike Zimmer and all the other coaches are going out of their way at the beginning of them to talk about just how good the facilities are here in Mankato and how they love the all of the people in the town so good to them and all this stuff. And it seems like they're just going out of their way to thank Mankato. It's like you can kind of read into it and see the writing on the wall that they're trying to be like, yeah, we love you guys here, and us leaving has nothing to do with how you guys have treated us. And it's funny that every press conference is starting out with them talking about how much they love Mankato and the facilities and everything. It really seems to me like their time is winding down there.
That's cool of them to give some props to Mankato. They've been
Mm-hmm.
a gracious host for a long time. And I
Over
watched some of
50
those
years.
videos with Boone arriving and them finding their bunks and all that. And the facility itself, when you think of NFL stars, you think of lavish lifestyles, and man, those rooms are nothing more than what I had in my dorms back in college. So it's kind of cool to think of them living like normal people.
I love
hope
it.
they
I
stay.
wish it was longer.
Mm-hmm.
I want more videos like that. That's what I want.
It's a lot of fun. I go up there every year, and it'd be really sad if they leave Mankato. It just won't be the same no matter where they go to do it. I hope, honestly, I hope they can work something out and they can stick around longer, because I know there was a lot of players complain about it, but then you hear from like Alex Boone talking about the positives of getting the team together in a smaller-ish environment in town, and they have to live together and work together, and it's good for building chemistry, and it's not something that a lot of teams do, and it's a very unique throwback situation that the Vikings are in, and it fits with Mike Zimmer being a tough throwback head coach, and it fits with, I think, the mentality that you want the Minnesota Vikings to have. So it would be sad. I know a lot of other people would be sad for them to leave Mankato as well too.
Maybe they'll still do player intro day or family day down in Mankato. Give them a nice little nod. Keep the community with a little bit of cash or something. That'd be a nice thing to do for the community for down there for a while, especially since most of the regular time activities will be taken up. But yeah, Mankato will be phased out. But I hope there's still some connection between the team and the area.
Maybe
I'd like to thank Scott Schwab for tuning in there. He's driving in his car, but he's listening. He's trying to do his best to listen.
awesome.
What's going
Maybe
on,
they can
Scott?
split time. Maybe they can split time. Training camp is usually, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, depending on, what they got for preseason games. Maybe they can split time. Maybe they could do, the beginning part of it in Mankato, and then after, a week and a half or 2 weeks, move out to the practice facility to get more work done or something like that.
Yeah, this is a hard one for me because I have not been to training camp. It's one of those things I've always wanted to do but never have done. The people that have been there in person and got the feeling of what it's like to be that close to the players, how intimate the whole setting is, they're the ones that would have the stronger feelings on this. Me, I don't have that connection, so I can't feel that, man.
It's Viking Central down there, guys. It's like they do such a good job of just embracing the Minnesota Vikings in Mankato, whether or not it's like Jake's Stadium Pizza that anyone who goes to training camp is going to know about Jake's, because it is just lined all of the walls with Vikings jerseys and signed Vikings memorabilia and helmets, and just all the fans meet up there, and that's just something that you only get that happens organically after being in one place for 50 years. If they move to this new Egan facility, there's no way that you can replicate something like Jake's Stadium Pizza, because that is just a business who has embraced it and turned it into Vikings headquarters that all the fans go to and enjoy themselves at. And there's lots of little destinations like that just all over, spread out throughout town. And yeah, you can see how well the Vikings are doing with US Bank Stadium and embracing the fans. But it's a little bit different when it's sponsored by the team versus, a small business that just embraces it on their own. It's more fun, in my opinion, when it's something small that's embracing it, because it feels more for the fans.
You mean like the Purple People podcast?
Exactly.
I mean, we're not 1500 ESPN. Mm-hmm. We're not the Star Tribune. We don't have the ton of connections. We're just fans talking football, but hopefully this has that special guys sitting around talking sports feel that you can only get at your local pub or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's what we like here.
I like that comparison a lot.
We love it. You know what else I love? I love that Kevin Williams signed a one-day contract and retired a member of the Minnesota Vikings. I love that.
My favorite quick hit of the day. So awesome. I hated seeing Big Phil Loadholt retire, but this was pretty sweet. You can tell how much people love this franchise and this whole family, especially like Jared Allen. I mean, you just got through playing a Super Bowl with the Carolina Panthers. I know you didn't have a lot of ties there. He had a start in Kansas City, but he chose to come back to the Vikings. Kevin Williams, it was such a staple for this team for so long. And I just love seeing those guys come back because that's how much they loved it here. You could tell that they took care of them.
Did you hear
Absolutely.
the story that Alex Boone talked about how his rookie season he played against Kevin Williams, and Kevin just absolutely owned him on the field?
No, I didn't hear that one, but I
Oh
don't doubt
man,
it one bit.
it's briefly the story that he tells is that he's rookie season. Uh, he's looking at Kevin Williams on tape and he's thinking, "What's this old guy gonna do to me? Like, I'm rookie, I'm younger than him, I'm better than him, like whatever." And then when the game started, Kevin just absolutely destroyed him. And he said after that he was one of his most respected players in the league because of that. And he said that later on, like way later on, he had a chance to play him again. I think when he was with that time with the Seahawks, was it?
Yep.
Yeah, it was with the Seahawks. And he said he spent like all week just watching game film and game tape on Kevin Williams because he's like, even though this guy is a backup, that is how much respect that he had for him. The press conference is up on the Vikings website. You guys should watch it. It's a super interesting, good one.
Very cool, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the final quick hit, Mike Zimmer contract extension. Ooh, doggy. Now, I still haven't seen the numbers on this. Did they ever disclose how long it's for?
I haven't seen anything for that yet.
I saw that they worked out an extension,
apps that pop up with this information, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
but I didn't see the number of years or anything like that. So keep in mind that we don't know how long the extension is for right now, but at least it's for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And the longer they can keep Zimmer, the happier I'll be. I was absolutely thrilled when the Vikings picked him. I'm still thrilled now, and I'll be thrilled a couple of years from now. I got that feeling. He is just the right guy.
Perfect fit. Couldn't ask for a better fit.
No, not at all. Not at all. So our main topic this week, we saw the release of Nick Foles by the Rams, and Vikings Twitter absolutely blew up. Now, Nick Foles, as we all know, when he was with the Eagles, a lot of people saw him as being a guy that could potentially be a franchise quarterback. Well, since then, he's kind of taken a bit of a tumble down the rankings. He's been backing up a lot of players. And now he is a free agent. The rumor came out that his first visit would be with Minnesota, which, if you think about it, makes sense because they have an aging Sean Hill behind Teddy Bridgewater. They have an injured Taylor Heineke. Their quarterback situation really isn't that great. And plus, I'll say it, even though I absolutely hate to say it, there are people that feel that Nick Foles might even be able to compete with Teddy Bridgewater for the starting job.
No, but
We'll go ahead and nix that in the bud. If you've paid attention within the last year, you would know that the management, the coaching staff, they're all behind Teddy. They stick to the old school mentality of giving him a chance. They understand, last year was his first full season. He didn't have a ton of weapons. The line was shaky. They're trying to give him the best chance. So to say that maybe later on, if let's say the offensive line plays great this year and Laquan Treadwell's a stud, but Teddy doesn't perform, then you could maybe say, all right, cool, we might look at other options for a starting job. But this is Teddy's job to lose, man. Everybody said that. I don't know why people always go with stuff like that. Kind of like the funniness in the NFL earlier this week about Tom Brady. Somebody said, oh, is he going to start week 5? No, it's the same way with Teddy. Teddy's a starter. It's been established. But in my opinion, I would love to have Nick Foles on the roster because I saw what he did in Philly. I saw what he did last year in the Rams. He made throws last year when we played against the Rams. And I'll just be quite frank, blunt and honest, Sean Hill is old, and he tried last year to give that game away against the Rams, and Teddy got knocked out. It was not pretty. I didn't like watching him. The preseason was great, but when the game counted, I was not confident in Sean Hill the rest of that game. I would be more confident if a guy like Nick Foles was backing up Teddy. But some people believe, and I'm sure Nick Foles believes that he's a starting quarterback. So we'll see where he gets signed. I wouldn't be upset if he came in to back up Teddy, not to take his job. That's not going to happen.
Are you ready for the hardest football question I will ever ask you, Mr. Smith?
I'm not ready, but I'm going to take it anyways.
All right, so you're the Vikings GM, right?
Okay.
You get a trade offer in front of you. Tom Brady, 2 years left before he retires, for Teddy Bridgewater for the rest of his career. What you picking?
No, I don't. I keep Teddy.
Really?
I love Tom Brady. In my opinion, he's the greatest quarterback ever. I mean, 6 Super Bowls, won 4 of them. It's pretty, and he's just consistently great. But he's 38 now. The NFL is not getting. It's not like it was in the 80s and the 70s as far as hitting quarterbacks, but he's going to get slower. And we don't have the same team as the New England Patriots do. We don't have the same line as other teams do. I'd take Teddy all day because he's more mobile. I give him a chance to grow. I'd take that flyer, as they call it, even though we know Teddy's not a flyer draft pick. I would take that chance on him.
I figured that would be a really tough question for you, and I bet you're still thinking about it.
There's tons of upside. He's a Hall of Famer, but it's just like back in the day, brought Brett Favre in. You know what it could have been, but you also know on the downside of what it might be. And I don't like that risk anymore, now that I've seen how that's paid off.
So now we're going from Tom Brady versus Teddy Bridgewater to Nick Foles versus Sean Hill, which isn't really as exciting as a battle. But Foles has had trouble sticking wherever he goes. And that brings up a question of what kind of character he is off the field, how the coaches and staff react to him. And it makes you wonder what else is going on out there that he hasn't found that place to stick. Because when you watch game tape, you see a guy who's very capable, that can take care of business. What are the issues that are holding this guy back from becoming a good football player?
Well, to be fair, I don't care too much for Jeff Fisher. I don't think he's much of a head coach. I don't like the way the Rams or any team that he's been underneath have run. I've said for a long time now that Vince Young may have been a bit of a basket case mentally, but Jeff Fisher did not help Vince Young succeed, and the reason why he got ran out of Tennessee. I believe that Vince Young should have had a longer, better career than what he did, and I think that Jeff Fisher is a large part of that problem. So I don't know precisely, what the situation will be with Nick Foles and the Rams and whatnot. Foles reminds me a lot of Matt Castle. He's a journeyman quarterback who has had, he had success, but he's not a franchise guy that you want to build a team around. Would he be a good upgrade over Sean Hill for the Vikings? Absolutely, he would. But to be fair, a lot of quarterbacks would probably be an upgrade over Sean Hill at this point. I think that Sean's big advantage is that he's been around the game long enough, and he is such a smart guy from what you hear from the coaching staff, is that he can really help Teddy in the film room and game study and help Teddy develop mentally with his reads and progressions and whatnot on the field. I really think that's why that they have Sean Hill on this team. Would Nick Foles be able to do that? Mentor Teddy in that respect? No, I don't think so. But I also think that Teddy is reaching a point in his career where maybe he doesn't necessarily need that kind of mentorship. Because the team is being built around Teddy Bridgewater. I'm sure you guys have noticed that as well, too, is that the shift from this being Adrian Peterson's team is slowly going away. And they're bringing in linemen, they're drafting receivers, they're putting talent around Teddy Bridgewater to succeed, and not necessarily trying to build a run-first Adrian Peterson show. I kind of went off on a tangent there. But, yeah, I'd be okay with Nick Foles coming in, so long as he understands that this is Teddy's team and this is Teddy's franchise. And you're a backup that is That's all there is to it.
Scott
If you
Schwab in
don't-
the chat there says that he would keep Teddy over Brady too.
Mhm.
But he also says that he is wondering about Mr. Smith's going to a. He wanted to know if that was a Titans game. He said you're going to know. Mr. Smith, I believe, is going to the Panthers game.
Right here in Charlotte. Yes, sir. It's week 3, and got really good seats. It's my hometown, so it's going to be fun. No, I wish I was going. If I wasn't changing bases within my job, I was going to spend a lot of money and try to hit up the East Coast tour for the Vikings there at the Titans, at the Panthers, at the Eagles, and at the Redskins, and I would love to go to all of those games, but unfortunately, time constraints won't let me. But I will be at the Panthers game for the 20th time. I'll tell you, I'll be live tweeting and Facebook and that day for the Purple People podcast. So anytime we get towards the end zone, you're going to get a live video.
I got a buddy that wants to drive to the Washington game from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's pretty hardcore, man.
Hey, here's a tough question for you. Would you trade Teddy Bridgewater straight up for Cam Newton?
Oh,
That one's much tougher.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, both of you.
I'm not going to answer that on the show because some people might not like me.
That means Cam. That means you're going with Cam.
If you're waiting for me to answer, it's not going to happen.
I'll say this. I will say this. Cam is a special kind of talent, and he's already kind of proven that he can succeed. Not that Teddy is unproven, but yeah, that's a tough one for sure.
I'll
For
say
sure.
he's unproven. He has yet to show he can take that next step. Right now he's a serviceable starting quarterback.
Mhm.
He needs to jump into being a good or a great starting quarterback, and I do think that's possible with him. I also do believe that there was a time not too long ago that the fans of the Panthers were calling for Cam Newton to not be the starter. He was making too many mistakes. They were relying on his mobility too much. He was getting injured, and he didn't have that pocket presence. But he worked on his game. He got his throws down. They brought in some more talent around him, and they
Joe
were able
Webb.
to succeed. So
They brought in Joe Webb, and then success.
Kyle, that was a
yeah, having Joe Webb there kind of reminded them, hey, we don't want this.
Kyle, that was a dirty question, man. You can't ask me if I want the MVP of the league currently, who's also a quarterback. That's not fair, man. He played lights out last year too. That's a hard one, but no, I'm not going to answer that.
Oh, no. Our folks listening to this show are going to go crazy. But that's one that I would have to sit down, run numbers on, and I would, like a fantasy football trade that I just wasn't sure about. I'd sit and stare at that for days. Not clicking accept or deny, just looking at it. It's one of those situations. But we actually did have a social media question last week. Sadly, we didn't get many social media answers. But hey, what can you do? We did have Eric Spink tell us that the rookie that he is most looking forward to being a standout during training camp is Jaron Kearse. Big, hard-hitting safety, raw talent. It's a guy that the team will probably have to develop, maybe end up as a practice squad guy. A lot of potential there, though. If the team can work with him, it's going to be the Vikings, if any team can, because that team has been able to work with some of the guys that I did not know if Terrence Newman or Captain Munnerlyn could come in and find success with the Vikings, and they're established players. And then I see these younger guys coming in, Anthony Harris, who was absolutely just raw, Antone Exum, another guy completely raw, and they're all coming along and developing. So why couldn't Jaron Kearse,
You see the video of Captain's interception at practice the other day?
Yes.
Oh. Talk about someone who's buying into the system and finally, accepting the coaching that's been given to him. Captain's buying in, and you can tell.
I was just talking about Captain Munnerlyn last night with pretty much my hometown equivalent of you guys. I went to B-Dubs and all. Literally, the only thing we talked about was football the whole day. and my guys are giving me, crap because they're fans of different teams, and they all, they brought up Blair Walsh. They're talking about Captain Munderland. I was like, Captain Munderland won the division for us last year. That's the most heads-up play of the year last year, minus Anthony Barr in Atlanta knocking the fumble loose. But the ball was dead, or we thought, and Captain just runs it back, and that pretty much sealed the deal for the game. So I'm a big fan of Captain Munderland. Now that you guys brought him up, huge fan. Now that he's not playing Captain Munderland football, he's playing Team Viking football.
I love that story about him during his first year with Minnesota. I was playing my style of football, and I wasn't succeeding, and I got mad. And then he said, well, I decided to buy into the system, doing what the coach has asked of me, and look at what he did last year.
He admitted he thought he was gone from the team. Yeah. He thought for sure that they were going to release him. And he said it was that game in particular that they benched him, and he played like 2 or 3 snaps the entire game, and he's like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? And he expected the team to release him. And that was
what else is
that was his wake-up call.
Like that is, I watched him earlier this week talking about camp. I was on Vikings.com and the Vikings app, and he sat down with PA, and he was talking with him, and he said, what do you, now that you're established, is like, I wouldn't call you over the hill or anything, but now that you're established, you bought in, like, how do you feel about them, drafting Mackenzie Alexander or drafting a Trey Waynes? He's like, I'm all for it, man. He's like, we're all on the same team, the same squad. If I can help them out, I would be glad to. And if they need help or they ask me anything, I'm not going to hold out because they might take my job. He's like, we're in this together. And I'm like, dude, that is the most professional answer you could ever say. And I love when people say stuff like that. I'm sure there's a lot of trash talk. I'm sure there's a lot of guidance and, rookie hazing for guys like Alexander and Jaron Carlson and everybody. But that's just that's the attitude that I hope everyone on the team has, because like in life, I've been there a lot of times. You could be potentially the guy who outseats another person later on, but that's what good teammates are for, and I think he's a good teammate.
Absolutely. Really cool to see stuff like that. Up next, we got Corbin Johnson, who says he's excited to see Cortez because he watched him in college, and he's looking forward to Kentrell Brothers to be maybe Chad's successor. I'm kind of hoping for that, too, from Kentrell Brothers. I like that thumper old-school mentality to him. Don't make a lot of mistakes. Be sure in what you're doing. Play heads-up football. He's not the most athletic guy, but he makes up for it with his instincts, and I love that. The Vikings linebacking core already has just athletes all around them. Anthony Barr is an absolute freak of an athlete. Eric Kendricks can bounce around and do so many different things for the Vikings. So maybe Kentrell Brothers doesn't need to be that kind of guy to fly all over the place, blitz, and drop back into coverage. There's still a place in this league for the old school thumpers, and Brothers could be that guy.
Fingers crossed.
Josh Radosevich says that he's also looking forward to Jaron Kearse. Lots of potential there. But he also is excited about Cortez C.J. Ham. Good old C.J. Ham. We got a question in the chat. A lot of comments out there stating that those great interceptions are being blamed on Teddy's throwing. What's your thought on that? Well,
I hadn't even heard that.
Mr. West were talking about that earlier, so I'm going to let him tackle that a bit.
I've really liked the improvement that I've seen on Teddy's throwing motion. Look at him. He looks like he's got a much tighter way that he throws the football. It reminds us, we're talking a little bit about Tom Brady. Instead of, as opposed to previously, Teddy had a bit of the Matthew Stafford kind of like side. He would kind of sidearm it a little bit when he went to throw it deep. And it looks like Teddy's really got it tightened up and more uptight where it should be when he throws the football. I haven't heard any of the negativity about that so far. I would remind everyone that this is like day 2 or 3 of training camp. Defenses are always ahead of offenses this time of year, and it is much easier for the defense to get on the same page and to look better at this stage. So do not get concerned been picked off a couple times in training camp. It turns out we also have an incredibly good defense as well too. it's positive that the defense is looking this good. Just don't worry about Teddy. Teddy will be fine.
Yeah, I haven't watched a whole lot of the video from training camp.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually watched more Redskins videos from training camp than the Vikings this year. I was laughing so hard about Josh Norman just getting absolutely torn up in training camp.
Out there.
And I know it's practices, but the reputation that he has, the amount of trash talking that he does, the system that he came from, I can't help but be a little amused watching it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
And yeah, that makes me a little evil, but oh well.
I was hoping at some point we could bring that up and work it into the show. I'm so happy you did that. I watched it earlier today. I know Deshaun Jackson got the best of him. I don't know what the other receiver's name was, but it's just getting worked out there. I was like, it's a lot of money you guys paid for him. Hope it works out.
Yeah, so let's be honest. The strength of this Vikings team is the defense. These are the most well-prepared guys going out there. They've invested a lot in the secondary, high draft picks, bringing in these veterans to help out with these bigger contracts. These are all guys in the secondary, especially the cornerbacks, that are very capable players. I have no problem with them making big plays on defense, especially when the ball's in the air, because that is what you want to see. The major gripe with the Vikings secondary is that they don't create enough turnovers. So to see them getting their hands on balls and bringing them in during training camp should be reassuring. And the fact that they're taking time out of training camp for Teddy to take some of these shots with his new throwing motion should be encouraging to fans rather than frustrating. So I wouldn't read too much into training camp interceptions with Teddy. Let him keep working on the deep ball. Let him keep working on his throwing motion, getting everything down. That's what training camp's for.
We talk about this every training camp, and it never fails. Anytime there's a big play, it's either, wow, that's great, the offense is looking good, and then you instantly have someone who's like, yeah, but the defense gave up a big play. Or if the defense looks good and they get an interception, there's always automatically the debate of, well, yeah, but what's wrong with the offense? The answer is neither. They're working against one another. It's a competition. They're trying to get better. You should be happy if Teddy is able to connect with Cordero Patterson down the field for a big gain. You should be happy if Xavier Rhodes is able to step in and get an interception, because either way, the Vikings are getting better and they're learning, and it's all part of gearing up for, the preseason and the regular season.
I don't want to beat a dead horse because we talked about this for a minute now, but he also made a very pretty throw to Jarius Wright, the deep ball, and Jarius Wright got the best of Terrence Newman, who had a great year last year. That's on Vikings.com. It's one of the highlight videos on the app. So, to counter the interception that Eric Kendricks made, he made a beautiful deep pass to Jarius Wright. It's going to go back and forth, and like you guys said, to kind of piggyback off what you guys said, this is the number 5 defense in the league for points allowed. So I would expect them to make plays. I'd be worried if they didn't. So I'm just going to keep it at that. Take that for what it is. There's going to be plays on both sides of the ball, and that's a good thing.
Now, I've also been hearing some pretty great things about Johnson. So I'm interested to see the wide receiver spots, the competition there, because for a while we just kind of assumed that Diggs would be the one to come on in and take the spot. But now that Johnson's healthy and he's got a full training camp to come in and do his thing, that position automatically just got a lot more interesting.
Lots of competition.
I do love me some competition.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so next week's social media question. You know what? I think we're going to go with the Tom Brady question. 2 years of Tom Brady, Teddy Bridgewater for the rest of his career. Because I think it's really interesting to see if fans would be willing to trade, and I won't say above average or average quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater right now. He still has some steps to take before he gets to that good or great. I'll say average to above average quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater. To trade him for 2 years of an elite level passer just for that hunt for a Super Bowl.
Man, that's going to stir up a lot. I hope there's a lot of responses on that. I'm very eager to hear what people have to say.
Mm-hmm.
That should be a lot of fun, a lot of fun. Scott in the chat says that he's noticed a lot higher level of intensity in training camp and practices, and you can tell the team's excited and motivated. Well, a lot of that has to do with the guys they're bringing in. Look at the offensive side of the ball. Alex Boone, love the attitude of this guy. He's out there to get it done. Mackenzie Alexander, he might be a rookie, but he will have no problem saying whatever it takes to get in someone's head, even a teammate, to win battles. These guys that they're bringing in are ultra competitive. For a while, we had the complacency of the Frazier era and some of the holdovers there of players who were content in where they were. They were veterans. They knew they had their jobs. That's not the case anymore. As we saw with Captain Munnerlyn being benched, these young players can come in and they can take jobs by working hard and playing well. And they know that their careers can be made in a preseason in the NFL this year. This is a what have you done for me lately league. And if these players can come out and make some noise, earn a longer look, they can start stealing playing time, then they can start stealing a couple starts, and then who knows, maybe they can steal an entire position.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Especially
what having a head coach that opens up opportunities can do. And Scott brings up a good point in the chat, too. It's not only the players that are bringing this attitude, it's the coaches as well. Sperano, Zimmer,
Yes.
no-nonsense kind of guys. On the field, they keep it business. Off the field,
Sperano.
sure, they can have a little bit of fun. But on the field, whew.
Sperano has been out there running some different kind of drills with the linemen as well, too. I've been to a lot of training camps, and you get kind of used to the tempo and the practices and whatnot that they do. A lot of the same drills year in and year out, even with different coaches and different staffs. But, man, Sperano was out there with this offensive line doing some stuff that I've never seen them do before. And that's positive. I really like the mentality that he's driving home for these guys.
I saw you brought in the three-point unit.
Yeah.
So you had to be in your stance so that if you went up too high, you'd touch the roof.
I haven't done that in years. I've been up there for a long time. I've never seen them run that drill. So yeah, that's amazing. That's cool. That's fun. It's exciting.
It seems as though the offensive line has gone almost completely back to the drawing board, which is fantastic in my opinion.
Much needed.
As much as I love Zimmer, he is not an offensive coach. As much as, the offensive coordinator, as much as when he came in, he is a wide receiver quarterback kind of guy. The offensive line kind of got pushed to the side. Sperano came in with that one focus, the offensive line, take it, make it wonderful, and you know what? It's going to happen. I think it's going to happen.
This coaching staff, Adam, reminds me of the 98 team. You know how many amazing coaches that we had on that 98 squad? Guys who went on to be head coaches in other places in the league.
Yeah.
We have that same kind of depth and experience on this one right now, with coaches who have, in a lot of cases, already have head coaching experience with other teams. I think there's something like combined 80 years worth of head coaching experience on this staff between Zimmer and Turner and some of the other guys that I can't think of off the top of my head. But yeah, just lots of wealth of experience. I love it.
So much goodness. Absolutely so much goodness. I want to throw out the reminder, Yahoo Survival League, Purple People Podcast. Our winner from last year was strutting around California in his Teddy Bridgewater jersey. We're not doing a jersey this year. We got an awesome prize package for you guys. Lots of awesome Viking stuff in there. Head on over, yahoo.com, Survival Football, League ID 241, password, Skol, all caps. Join it up. Win some prizes. Talk some smack. Let's have some fun. And we'll see if Mr. Smith has something bold to end us with here.
Nothing bold this week, guys. I'm just trying to make sure I stay alive for this podcast as my phone is dying. We're going to get into some predictions here soon. I did want to start that off this week, but I'm not going to go because I can take it forever. I'll just tell you that ESPN and NFL Network needs to hire me for being the Vikings rep, like Ben Yesling kind of sort of thing. Heath Evans and I forget whoever the other guy was. They did a game-by-game record for the Vikings this year, saying that we were going to go 12-4, and I was like, oh man, that's a great total. Until I saw that he thought we were going to beat the Green Bay Packers and the Panthers, but lose to the Eagles and the Jaguars. So I'm going to leave that up for everybody to think about. Don't like that whatsoever. Don't agree with it whatsoever. But we're going to get into predictions soon. And about 2 weeks from now, or maybe a week from now, I'm not sure when the first preseason game is, we'll have a little bit of analysis for you guys. But I'm holding off for something good. I'd rather give you something of quality rather than something every week of quantity that's not that good to talk about. Hit up the
Yeah, we'll
social
be
media
doing
questions,
previews and
guys.
reviews pretty soon.
Everybody needs to hit up that social media question if you're listening or if you're talking with your buddies, if you're going to do a fantasy football draft party, something. Go on, talk about it. We need some responses, and this is a great question.
Good stuff. We're going to be... we got a question for Mr. West in the chat.
What's up?
Commenter wants to know, is the side part your new hairdo?
Yeah, I got a haircut. I don't know. Whatever. It's what the barber gave me. I'm not too picky.
I'm going with the kind of homeless
started-
guy look, which I think I pull off pretty well. I mean, I can
was
shave
gonna
it up
say,
and look pretty good, but yeah, what's the point? Too much effort. And then you got Mr. Smith, who's always looking dapper. Look at him. You know, he's the kind of guy that can walk into the bar and the women come to him. That's how it works.
I don't know about that one.
Nah, that's why we keep you on the show. All the ladies love you.
You're the eye candy of the group.
You know what my old bandmates told me? My old guitar player told me, he's like, I don't care how well you sing, you have tattoos, and you have the short hair. He's like, you're hired. I was like, well, I don't know how I feel about that.
That's awesome.
You need to love
You
me.
got the look.
You need to love me for my personality.
Oh, great stuff. That's all I've got for this week. You guys got anything else you want to throw in there?
I'm going to be up in Minnesota this weekend, up in training camp, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So if anyone's going to be up there at the night scrimmage or the Monday practice, I will be around. So expect lots of photos, and next week's show, I'll be able to give you guys a bit of what I've seen and what I experienced. I'm going to go try to hit up the new stadium, Mall of America, do some of that stuff, as well as all the normal training camp fun. So I'm quite looking forward to it.
Very cool, very cool. So we should expect some nice photos coming up on the podcast page. All right. I was trying to buy a little bit of time with that conversation so that I could look up the schedule and see, but that didn't quite work out. Okay, so next week's show is going to be our first preview show. I'm really excited about that.
Oh, I love preview shows.
It's going to be August 12th, the Vikings and the Bengals. And I believe that the Vikings and the Bengals are doing joint practices this year as well. There's a connection with Mike Zimmer. So these games should have a lot of fun. A lot of
They
fun
are
attached to
indeed
them.
doing. Yeah, they are indeed doing a joint practice. The Vikings are going to be leaving Mankato about a week earlier this year. That's another thing that I forgot to mention earlier in the show when people were talking about tempo, is that the coaches are really trying to preach, we have to get this tempo and we have to get everything done early because we're going to be heading out for this joint practice, so we don't have as much time as what we usually do. So that's why they're trying to hit it hard and often for camp this year.
So that's
awesome.
something to
I
look
can't
forward
wait
to
talk
next
about
week.
that and see it.
Yeah. All right, so KyleWestPhotography.com. Go check out his stuff. Mr. Smith doesn't have his little header thing.
Sorry,
But he'll
guys.
tell
I'm
you
on
where
my
to go
phone
to
this
check out
week.
his stuff.
Sorry, guys. I'm on my phone this week. YouTube.com/C as in Charlie /Cowsmith, KOWSMIFF. Cover's coming soon. Back home. I'm going to have a lot of off time, so we're going to put some new music out. But if you don't want to listen to music and you want to talk about the Vikings or maybe some zombies, Adam Carlson can help you.
Hey, don't sell yourself short, man. You've got that Facebook page, too. And I think you just put some Chris Stapleton covers up on the Facebook page, on the Facebook account.
I was
for your
experimenting the other
music
day with
page.
Facebook Live. It's a lot of fun. I see why famous people do it now. You can interact, kind of like we're doing right now with the live show. So I did do that the other day. I'm going to try that more once I get some songs down completely. It's cool, man. Thanks for that.
Yeah, so check out his music page. I believe it's just your name under music, right?
It's Kyle Smith's music. Kyle Smith's SMITHS music from Facebook. That's my official page on there. It's kind of weird because it's gonna be just me. So if you have my regular Facebook profile, they're kind of intertwined. But get on over there and give it a like if you want. There's lots of videos up there.
Yeah, he posts up all the stuff he does some cool live stuff every once in a while. And he'll even share some songs that you might not hear if you're just a normal radio listener. He shares some pretty good songs on there too, so good stuff. And I pimp my stuff enough anyway. You guys already know about Undead Walking and the Viking Age. I got that down in the corner right over there. I'll be doing a lot more on there when games start up, so it should be a lot of fun. But at Purple People Pod Twitter, Purple People Podcast on Facebook. You can listen to us, YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, probably other places too that I don't even know about. I've set up so many links to this that I don't even know where to listen to this at all the places anymore.
iTunes.
Oh yeah, we've got iTunes going nice and strong. As a matter of fact, what we'd love to do is we'd love to get rid of this Google Hangouts format and move directly to YouTube Live. Now, in order to do that, we need subscribers. And we hate bugging people for subscribers. We hate begging for subscribers.
We gotta do it.
We gotta do it a little bit. So please, if you listen and you enjoy the show, please hit subscribe. And when you hit subscribe, you'll also get notifications for when we schedule shows. So you'll get the benefit of that as well as the notifications of new shows being available. But you'd be doing us a big favor too, because we would love to move to that. That way we can have the instant results of talking with you guys. We won't have that delay. We won't have to go through the Google Hangouts as a third party kind of way around things. And plus we'll get more featured on, I believe, Facebook Live, not Facebook Live, but YouTube Live will get showing up when people log in. If they have Minnesota Vikings as one of their interests, will be one of their suggested things if we're live. So it could be really big for us. And I know that we don't ask a ton of you guys, but I do ask you, if you listen on a regular basis, head on over to YouTube if you're not there already. Hit the subscribe button, and while you're there, hit the thumbs up button if you like what you got. If you don't like it, feel free to hit the thumbs down button. You won't hurt our feelings. We know that we're not for everybody. We're a bit of an acquired taste. That's okay. If you don't dig us, that's all right. Plenty of other Vikings podcasts out there that do a fantastic job, but we like it if you like ours.
We like anybody who likes us, so thank you.
On that note, we've been going for almost an hour here, so I think that we're pretty good to go on this show.
We got 7 hours left, Adam.
Yeah, we can podcast for up to 8 hours.
Yeah.
And I hope we never have to test that time limit.
I think we should. I think we should do like a pre-game podcast.
Okay, guys, I've got it. If we win the Super Bowl, we should do an 8-hour podcast. I'll agree with it on that.
Oh, good Lord. I'm not ready to commit to that, but I'll say it's an idea.
If we win
do.
the Super Bowl
Here's my
this
idea.
year, we will do a post-Super Bowl 8-hour podcast. I'm totally down for it.
We could pick a game, and we could do like 2 hours before, and then how long is a game? 3 hours?
Mm-hmm.
3,
Yep.
4,
So
5.
about 3.5 hours or
7,
so.
8. Yeah, then we can do a 3-hour after show podcast. We can get 8 hours doing it like that.
I watch. I don't know if you watch What Culture Wrestling. I love wrestling. What Culture Wrestling is fantastic if you're a wrestling fan. They do live shows where they guess the outcomes of matches, and they'll say like, okay, every time there's a drop kick, we take a shot. Now I don't drink anymore, but for you guys that do, it'd be a lot of
That
fun.
is so dangerous.
We've talked about doing.
They've had
talked
people
about
puke live on the air, so it's fun stuff.
We've talked about doing like a live show during a game, but there's no way we could keep it PG. I mean, I know I couldn't, especially if the game was going poorly. Like you got that's happening. You just don't.
Well, there are ways too that we can set YouTube so that it will say, the language warning is on there.
Mm-hmm.
And we could do that with a regular show. I usually keep it off because we're not too bad for language.
Good.
I'd say we're PG.
Mm-hmm. The PG era.
We'll throw in an ass or a damn or something like that every once in a while, but we lay off
reference.
the F's, the S's, and thank God the C's. I don't think we've ever dropped a C bomb.
Mm-mm.
C bombs scare me. Kyle West, did you misspell your website in the banner?
I don't think so.
Kyle West. Yeah, you did.
Oh, well, there you go.
Good catch, Scott.
It was being a pain in the ass last week, and it wouldn't show up, and I had to retype it 4 times, and it just never
Scott also
did.
says he'll help out with Vikings Gab for the YouTube channel, and I appreciate that. We'll also see about shooting over some Vikings Gabs likes. Head on over, check them out. They're good folks too. Scott, regular, love him. Love having him here with us. And really, we gotta go. This is going way too long. But thank you everyone for listening, and remember to stay classy, Minnesota.